Hello, everyone. We're back again from our last talk by Emir Zunic. And right now, here we have Ivan Anic from Infobip with his talk on how are we being manipulated by social media bots. Ivan, what do you exactly mean by this title? How can social media bots manipulate us?
Well, that's exactly the topic of what I'm going to be talking about for a while. So I don't know if it's time. I could just dive in.
Yeah, okay. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Please start your
Cool.
presentation.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Belgrade. Good morning, world. Pozdrav svima. I hope you're having your pleasant morning cup of coffee just as me this morning. And that's exactly how I envisioned the talk, being pleasant, just actually a chit chat about stuff that's been going on online recently. I won't be going into any technical details, so it's just going to be smooth sailing for maximum half an hour. My name is Ivan. I'm a data scientist at Infobip, and I've tackled a lot of different problems throughout both my education and my career. And I've researched about this topic for a while, and the more I researched, I saw these big volumes of this, and I just thought it's an idea worth sharing, and it's a topic worth discussing, especially in this DNA day and age after this social media boom we've lived through the past decade. First off, I'd like to reflect a little bit on social media and what does it look like nowadays compared to what did it look like a decade ago. You remember how it did look like a decade ago, where your feed was actually teeming with posts from people and not just news pages or advertisements, etc. Through the decades, it's turned into this big concoction of a lot of things we've been using the internet for. Nowadays, you'd go to social media to read vacuum cleaner reviews. You can go to social media to buy a used iron board. You can find a date, probably a husband or a wife, or even both. And on the one hand, it's interesting and it's great that it's so accessible. We got all this information at the tips of our fingers, right here in our pockets. But because of this simplicity, we rarely take a moment to think twice about this information we're bombarded with every day. Now, let's remember, for example, the last time you waited for a bus, or you were in an elevator, or you waited for your coffee to be done. I'll be the first to admit the first reflex that comes to my head is I take my phone and start scrolling for a bit. And well, you've seen some messages like this ill-grammared messages. When when you see this, you'd think, oh, these stupid bots. This is, well, obviously artificially generated content. You'd think bots conquering us. Come on, guys, make it an effort. This is just silly. Um, you would, for example, keep scrolling. You would stumble upon some legitimate news, a verified source. For example, this is um, the verified BBC page mentioning some releasing of restrictions in the UK. However, since this is social media, there's some comments, there's opinions as expected. And our friend Mike here, he seems still very scared about COVID. He thinks we should all go into another national lockdown, as if we haven't had already. And at this point, well, probably you wouldn't think any artificialness is involved here. You would keep on scrolling, you'd see some other news, and of course, some more comments. For example, we can see an opinion from Sam. However, this Sam's opinion seems strangely identical, actually, so to say, to Mike's opinion, especially if you look to both of them in parallel. If you saw this, you would probably think, oh, they're just serving me artificial content. Actually, the only difference between these comments is that Mike calls it the Delta variant and Sam calls it the Indian variant. However, if you saw this, you would think, okay, these are bots. But probably you won't, and probably you will form some, if not subjective, you would maybe form some subconscious opinion, at least an experience, and that is just one of the goals of these bot activities. Another thing you probably won't do, not a lot of us, you won't dig deeper and actually check how many of such identical posts exist, and you can see that there's a lot of those. There is another example regarding COVID. You've all heard about the situation when people, although being double jabbed, as some like to say, can still contract the virus, right? So you've seen about those situations. You might know some people, but we don't know how big the volume of this is, right? So you would see posts online, you probably have, but have you seen some of the identical posts? I'm guessing you haven't. However, if you saw this, you probably would have thought twice. Well, this is suspiciously identical. They're probably serving me some information they want me to see. They're probably planting some thoughts in my head now. But the thing is, you probably won't. I'd like to just move briefly to another part of the world, to South America, to Bolivia specifically, where 2 years ago there were a lot of protests against the government at the time, and when the president finally resigned, another guy came and proclaimed himself as a new president. Long story short, shortly it turned out that his social media was managed by an American company headquartered in Washington, D.C., and sometime later, Facebook chastised them for breaking their policy of interfering with foreign affairs. They discovered that the whole campaign had amassed more than 500,000 followers, and a lot of money was invested in targeting several countries with these content, and a lot of accounts and pages have also been discovered as being fake. The office in the end admitted to contract the company, but for some other reasons. There was another campaign in Bolivia in the same period, this time on Twitter, and apparently this situation of with artificial content is more widespread on Twitter, where this campaign had amassed more than 1 million of tweets in just around 2 weeks, retweeted by over 250,000 accounts, which are not all artificially created accounts, but humans would also retweet this. When you see something that's viral, especially in Twitter, the behavior is you would just share it and propagate it. There was a similar campaign this year, just a couple of months ago in Cuba. If you've been following social media, you might have seen that the situation is not that good. It's terrible, actually. There's chronic shortages of food and medical supplies. There's hour-long queues in front of the stores, only to find the prices of simple groceries being 10 times the price of what an average citizen could afford. There's people dying, there's poverty, there's famine, there was police brutality, and well, there were protests, but there's a couple of curious things about these protests I'd like to share, which I stumbled upon. For example, this main hashtag SOS Cuba, it had appeared way before the protest even started. It appeared first on July 5th, whereas the first protest was on the July 11th. Another curious thing, this hashtag first appeared, it originated from Spain, and it was related to an employee of a Spanish think tank. And well, this is still a fresh situation. However, people are already starting to analyze this. And there is a renowned Spanish analyst, Julian, who also, for this previous campaign in November, invested a lot of effort into uncovering what was really going on behind the curtains. He even published the data set of nearly 100,000 fake accounts, which could be later be used by us for further analysis. And I just like to show briefly part of his research, which was really wide. This is, for example, activity of a single account. You can see through 11 days, and you can see that in the beginning, the account was mainly dormant, posting rather rarely. And when the protest started, it started posting more than several times a second. So obviously, there was some automation here behind the scenes. And well, this is just data analysis, which was used to show what was really being going on. A couple of other curious things about this Cuba situation. This picture I've shown you in the previous slide actually has nothing to do with Cuba, nothing to do with these protests. It was actually a protest in Egypt a decade ago. This another post mentioning that that Cubans want liberty also has nothing to do with Cuba. It actually, the video itself has to do with a positive thing, a celebration of Argentina winning Copa America. And this information was also streamed in other media. This is a screenshot from live television. And this in turn is, for example, a peaceful protest that was actually a pro-government protest. However, it was portrayed in media as an aggressive anti-government protest. There's a lot of different use cases, and I won't be bothering you a lot with South America for now. You've all encountered some fraudsters, some hackers. Some time ago, it was just viruses that were trying to be planted in our PCs, but nowadays the fraudsters are attacking the social media as well, and this is just a simple example of an attempt to make a transaction through PayPal. It is a gullible attempt because it is done through public comments. However, you can see that these two accounts look identical. However, they are not. The difference is only in a single underscore. And yeah, it's obvious that one of the accounts is fake. It was automatically generated. And if you were unaware, you might just end up sending your money to someone else, being scammed and never seeing this money again. The stock market. This slide is just a wall of text. You don't have to read it, but I just wanted to show that there was a lot of research being done throughout the last decade, and there were correlations being discovered between social media posts, their sentiments and activities, with these correlating with the stock market. However, it's not only bots and automated algorithms that can influence the stock market. There's also real people, and I've taken just a couple of examples here. When, for example, Elon Musk tweeted about thinking of going private with Tesla Motors, the company ended up rising for 11% in the total market cap. And for example, when Kylie Jenner tweeted negatively about Snapchat, the company lost 1.3 billion in net market value. When Carl Icahn, who's a famous American businessman and a hedge fund manager, etc., tweeted positively about Apple, Apple gained 17 billion in net value. There was another situation where the Associated Press, which is a news agency in America, got hacked. They posted some fake news. It was remedied rather quickly. However, you can see that this short dip, someone could have profited a lot from it. Nevertheless, it being remedied quickly. And the story wouldn't be complete without our beloved Donald, of course, who decided to go after Toyota more. And after just the single tweet, the company had lost 1.2 billion in the market value. Regarding the stocks, you guys remember the GameStop situation a couple of months ago, how the Redditors decided to rebel against the rich, and they united and just invested in a stock, kind of just without a lot of thinking beforehand. And I mean, me personally, I heard about this too late. But if I heard about the situation sooner, I would have probably invested and I would have probably profited. The same as a lot of it. Same as a lot of it, I guess. So this behavior is practically a school example of herd behavior, where a group of individuals act in a in a way that's not specifically targeted, not specifically planned, but rather kind of just going with the flow. Um, and something in their head, which would kind of this situation with game stuff, it would seem rational and logical to invest. It seemed like a fail-proof plan, and it was kind of a common sense, right? If we stop just for a second and think about what the common sense is, besides by some claimed as the best antivirus, it's just an idea that's common within a group of people, that kind of everyone knows, an idea that goes without saying, and well, that just makes sense, right? And such ideas are actually not even hard to be implemented artificially if you're having tens of thousands of individuals thinking the same thing. If you can imagine positioning yourself in such an environment, that can be called an echo chamber, which is exactly what these botnets are doing. An echo chamber is this closed environment where an opinion about someone or something is being just amplified and propagated without the possibility of it being disputed. And in the end, well, obviously, it just ends up being something that's like a common sense. There's another psychological trick these bots are using to manipulate us. It's the norm of reciprocity, which actually says that when you're given something, you feel kind of obliged to give something in return. And yeah, this is manifested in social media as well. When someone follows you, you will follow back rather often than rarely, especially if the account seems popular, if the account seems like it's someone who's speaking something that makes sense. You would follow it, and before you knew it, your whole feed would be spammed with content that you didn't really look for, that kind of came to you, right? There's a question which probably pops in your heads: who is behind all of this? And I won't be going into details here. There's obviously a lot of parties involved, some rich individuals hiring companies, think tanks, click farms, etc. And another question which might pop in your head is, okay, what can we do to remedy this situation? How can we be clever, and how can we detect those bots? There has been a lot of effort into investigating the ways we can tackle this. Of course, there's traces these bots are leaving behind, be it behavioral traces, which we can detect through some time anomalies, or just some network fingerprints we can detect and then discover which bots are artificial and which are not. There's this honeypot attack, which is a strategy of creating a resources which will attract a botnet in order to, well, just analyze their behavior, which can be later used in combating further botnets. And of course, you can use psychology. You can implement a theory of mind, which is basically a concept where you make implications about individual states and use those implications to predict future behavior. So all of these in combination are being implemented and are being used. And yeah, this is just an example of a company which is investing a lot of effort into detecting and removing such content. And yeah, just in the last quarter of 2020, they removed almost 27 million pieces of hate speech. Since the pandemic began, Obviously, there was also a lot of fake content and a lot of fake accounts. Mm, Obviously, there's also bright side. There's what the bots were in the first place envisioned to be doing, sharing some legitimate info, something that's useful, something that we'd like to know. There's a couple of examples I'll just like to show here. For example, the current vaccine progress or some natural catastrophes, for example, the earthquakes, or just reposting and amplifying something that's not fake, that's actually important. For example, this New Times all caps. Obviously, if news is in all caps, it means it's important. Um, Also, the bots have been implemented to help people with their mental states as well, which was especially necessary in this period where, well, actually the whole world has been coerced into a lockdown in a single point, and people developed a lot of mental issues, be it depression, be it anxiety, be it the fear of going out, etc. And a lot of psychological help bots have been developed, which have actually been shown to produce positive effects. Although the users knowing they're talking to a bot, it turns out that just having a channel to vent out is a lot of help to some people, because a lot of people don't have not just this channel or just someone to talk to, right? We at InfoBip have also taken a step in this direction. We have developed a platform for building chatbots. It features an in-house NLP engine for intent detection. It can be built in any language through over a dozen of communication channels. And when the pandemic started, we felt that we could contribute with this platform, and we decided to hand it out to be used for free. It's been very difficult for governments and health institutions to deliver accurate and timely information, whether it's regarding the current measures, the places to get tested, the places to get vaccinated. You can imagine if there was no internet, how telephone lines would be overcrowded and no one would know what's going on. So yeah, we decided to help the situation as much as we could, and we provided our tool to be used for free by medical institutions and governments. And this effort has been actually noticed and awarded on this year's MEFIS Awards. And yeah, this is just a quick summary how the campaign is looking for now. It has been implemented in a lot of countries globally, millions of messages being shared to millions of people, and millions of, what's most important, accurate and timely information has been handed over to people who needed them. To conclude, the thought I like to leave you guys with is just keep your eyes open and think twice about something that may seem a little bit off when you take it at first glance. When someone tells you something, take a second thought, Google a bit, think. And if you can, if you're a data scientist like me, contribute, publish your analyses. If you're doing something, publish a data set. There is a lack of these, and if we're doing this together, I think, yeah, we can just spread awareness, because as the as a field is evolving, the field of AI, in a good way, there will also obviously be these malicious attempts to use AI. And yeah, that would be it. I'm gonna thank you all guys for listening, and yeah, I'm here if you've got any questions for me.
Hi, Ivan. Thank you very much for that really interesting talk. I mean, it's kind of crazy what's happening with these bots. Regarding the questions, I would have one. You did mention some main takeaways that we can do, but what can us mere mortals do about this problem? I mean, these bots are literally everywhere, and they're always spreading these ideas. What else can we do to kind of prevent it, or do we just lean on the big tech that that they will take care of the bots and they will ban them all.
Well, they are investing a lot. Actually, Twitter had announced that 15% of all active accounts are bots. So, I mean, what you can do, you can spread this information to your friends. You can talk to people, and yeah, that's what I've been personally doing a lot. Ever since I started researching about this, I've been mentioning the Cuba and Bolivia situation to a lot of people, and yeah, just spreading the good words instead of spreading the bad words, I guess.
No. Okay. Okay. Well, thank you very much. It was really an interesting talk. I mean, it's kind of a different take than other talks that we have at this conference, but it's amazing to showcase what ML and machine learning can be used for in this kind of different but a little sneaky way to kind of fool people and start and activate and use the psychology of individuals to kind of make them take action that they otherwise wouldn't have. Even thank you very much. I will
Welcome.
see you
Thanks
some
for
other
the
time.
invitation.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I just wanted to mention those were three back-to-back talks that we had. As you see, we've set up some branding. Right now, we'll take a short 15-minute break for you guys to get some coffee, maybe stretch your legs. And I would advise you to network with other participants. Join us on Discord. We have various channels where you can talk to other people and kind of connect. Since we aren't live anymore, the live part of the conference ended yesterday. This is the only way you can connect to people and companies. So go check out our Discord and see you later.